Hello and welcome back to another edition of Top of the Kops with myself, AGT, right here on the channel that is now known as the voice of football's most famous stand. I hope you're all well and I hope we're all prepared for another incredible show that we have lined up for you today. We've got a comprehensive football roundup talking all things good and bad, I guess, within the Premier League, as well as the matchday mixer, a classic Would You Rather, and three huge Top of the Kop moments. But first and foremost, let me introduce my incredible guest. She's a good mate of mine. It's Emma Coney-Bear. She's been on the show before. How are you?
Hey, how are we? Oh my God, my flatmate literally just...
I'm very good.
The worst.
As soon as we press live, I mean, we've been speaking for like 15 minutes.
It was like the best introduction. Could you imagine? It's just like...
Unbelievable.
Hi.
Just can't time these things, can you? But how are you? I mean, big Watford fan, Emma. So I guess, you know, days have been better for yourself.
Not gonna lie, I think I woke up yesterday and I felt like somebody had broken up with me. It was really hard. I know it is. The thing is, the last game of the season when we played against Arsenal, it was probably one of the best games that I'd seen. The boys fought for their life.
Yeah, I can agree.
It was just a little bit too late for little. What was it? What's the saying?
Too little, too late.
Too little, too late. Unfortunately.
Yeah, I mean, to score 2 goals at the Emirates, I mean, it's more than Liverpool did when we went there a few days ago. But, I mean, unfortunately, it's confirmed now that Watford, Bournemouth and Norwich go down. I mean, you could probably actually fill me in on this, Emma, more than anyone else. I mean, the sacking of Nigel Pearson, I mean, completely wrecked my head. So, 1, was it needed? And 2, why did it happen?
Super Nige. Love
Big Nige.
He did amazing things for the club, you know, before Christmas when he came on board. That's actually when I started doing some presenting for Watford.
Yeah.
6 points from safety in the relegation zone. He came on, completely changed everything up. I think that's the nicest way to do it. There was rumours that there was a high disagreement with him and the owners. And I think once you've had a massive bust up, I think it's very hard for you to come back to that. And I mean, if you've offended somebody and then you go, oh, by the way, don't worry, mate, I'll still manage your team. It's a bit like, you know, I don't know the outs of it. I just know that was probably the main reason for why we lost him 2 games before that. I think there was just a disagreement. I don't think it's yeah. We don't know what happens, but
we don't know. I mean, Big Nige was. I mean, when he was at Leicester, he made that famous quote in the press conference, which I really liked him for, when he called a journalist an ostrich. I think.
Yeah.
I think it was an ostrich. But like you say, beat Liverpool at Vicarage Road. I was there. I was really impressed with Watford on the day, and I just couldn't imagine then, in March, I think that was early March, that this would happen. Yeah. I mean, there's now.
It's the coronavirus. I think and I think if you translate how we started the season, it was very slow and sluggish, and it wasn't our best. And then we stopped, and then we basically repeated the start of the season again, and we were slow, sluggish, and getting back into it. Not to mention, we do have a couple of injuries as well. Like Troy Deeney didn't have his fitness up in the restart. We lost Gerard Delafeu. You know, and he's our main guy in the wing, you know, complements Sarr. And I think we didn't get the right formation. We didn't get the right fit, because if you have a look over the last games at the start of the restart, the formation was different pretty much all the time. I think we're definitely lacking in defence, and I think there's definitely gaps where we need to get sorted. But I think, if I'm being totally honest with you, even though I didn't want us to get relegated, it might be a really good scenario for us to rebuild, regroup, get a good manager, get our mojo back, start winning, because who doesn't like winning? I'm saying this now, please. Yes. And then come back up again. The only thing that I'm super worried about is we will lose players. I think everyone's looking at the transfer window right now and they're like, oh, we're getting this player here and we're getting this player. And I'm like, don't lose players, please, Watford. We need to get players in. And there's definitely some great talent, like João Pedro, which is the 18-year-old Brazilian, which is tipped to be the next Richarlison. I think he came on for the last 10 minutes against Arsenal, and he is good. He's unstoppable. He's quick-footed. But I think he found it very hard to be transitioned into England. The weather, he said it was always burning his chest when he was playing, and fitness. So I understand why we slowly integrated him in. So hopefully having this championship, we can get those sort of players up and running again, because we want the youth through, because, we do have an old team. The average team, it is old for Watford, unfortunately. Troy Deeney's 32, I think it is. And, it's good to get the youth coming through and just rebuild, like what all the other teams have had, like Manchester United. They've done incredible this season in terms of using a lot of their young players coming through. Well, I say coming through. We need to start doing that, starting from the bottom and working up, rather than getting old players in to kind of put a plaster on and try to make it through.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, back in March when we played you, I just really didn't think it would get to this. Really, you mentioned the likes of Delafeu, the likes of Deeney. I mean, you've got Welbeck there, you've got Decore, you've got some unbelievable players, to be honest, that really should be.
On paper, it's a very good team. Hughes, Will Hughes, exceptionally well, runs like more than anybody else. Sarr is great. Welbeck, and this is what I'm worried about. You've got.
What's going to happen with those names?
Well, that's the thing. They are known as Premier League players, and on paper, they deserve to be in the Premier League. Now, are you going to let the ego get the better of you and say, I don't want to be in this team anymore because I deserve to be a Premier League player? Or are you going to stick to your guns and, support Watford and be that unit, that family, like we always love talking about as a Watford fan? Are you going to stay united? It's testing times.
Listen, for your sake, because we're good mates, I really hope that Watford do come straight back up and we can get down to Vicarage Park next season again.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Vicarage Road, sorry. So big up to Watford. Hope they can get back up as soon as possible. If we're talking about the other race that happened, the race for fourth place, I mean, through gritted teeth, Emma, Chelsea and United get into the Champions League. I mean, I'm not being funny. I wanted to get your thought on this as well. I mean, Brendan Rodgers is whatever. I mean, he's managed Watford, to be fair. He's managed Liverpool. We both got our own opinion of him. He almost did the unthinkable with Liverpool. I mean, especially after this now, where I think they were 14 points ahead of Man United at one point. To throw that away, is it now fair to actually call Rodgers a bottler? Because he's got a bit of a record now. I mean, apart from Celtic, let's be fair to him. He did the unthinkable at Celtic and won a ridiculous amount of trophies. But to throw away 14-point lead?
You know what? I remember literally the last game. It was the Watford-Liverpool game, wasn't it? The last game before lockdown. I think it is. And that was when Leicester was playing, and they were in third position?
Yeah, they were pushing.
And it's almost like they got scared of being in that position. They were like, oh, we're there, right, and then they started slipping down. I'm a little bit baffled by it, but you kind of could have seen it coming. But I don't know. Brendan Rodgers as a manager, I still think he's decent. I just think maybe they lacked something in the restart.
The mad stat for me on this is that since Leicester beat Southampton 9-0, since that day, Southampton have taken more points in the league than Leicester.
Yeah.
And that shows you everything.
I know. It's crazy when you think about that. That game was at the very beginning of the season. And they lost. They had the biggest defeat out of any of the teams.
9-0.
Baffling.
And then since then, I think Danny Ings has gone on to score 22 goals. Southampton, a great finish to the season. Really happy that they stuck with their manager and didn't get rid. And obviously, Liverpool, as we all know, were champions before this game. I think in the Klopp's era so far, Emma, this was actually the first time that a game on the last day of the season didn't mean anything. So every season we've gone in like, we could get fourth, we must get fourth. Season after, we can still win the league on the last day. So for me, it's actually quite nice to just sit there and watch it and enjoy it without having to stress too much. I mean, 3-1 in the end. I think
the last game of the season, oh my God, I was thinking I was having a heart attack. I had to walk out there when there was a penalty out on the balcony. I couldn't deal with the pressure. It was too much. And then because obviously, I think it was more exciting being at the bottom of the table. I say exciting loosely. Like, I think it's exciting.
Drama.
It was a case of like, Aston Villa had to lose. And then Bournemouth had to get more points, and it was all down to goal difference. And I think it's very clear to say that one of the massive problems that Watford have was not scoring enough goals. Wasn't enough goals.
Yeah, goals pay the bills at the end of the day. I think Origi scored the second goal against Newcastle at the weekend. I mean, do you think we've seen that last finish there from Origi? Is that his last involvement in a Liverpool shirt? Do you think? I mean, he actually changed his bio on Instagram to Merci instead of Liverpool player, which you could read it as he's saying thanks and goodbye. But what do you think?
Well, it's a bit shady if he's then going to stay at Liverpool after that.
Yeah.
Don't worry, I'm just going to change this. Do you think as a football player, turning it back on you actually, as a football player, once you've won like every single trophy, basically, that's what Liverpool has technically done recently. How many trophies have you won? You won.
Well, 4 in the last kind of 13 months.
Yeah.
But to be fair to you there, though, we haven't won the FA Cup and the League Cup.
Oh, I was
Big deal. Ask me if I can. No, but yeah, you're right. I think
you have to play your second team because you're always elsewhere playing in a different competition. As a player, if you've won all of that, wouldn't you like to have new changes, or do you want to just stay in the same team? And I don't know. I think if somebody changes their bio, isn't that mean it's official? It's like if you're in a relationship with somebody, like single. Oh my God, I'm now.
Yeah.
Not single anymore. It's a bit like, well, come on, it's in black and white. So
yeah, I think he might have been slightly putting himself on the market. I mean, there was a great picture actually, which we have saved for later on, where he's actually sat in the centre circle after the Chelsea game last week. Pretty much might know it's his last ever game at Anfield, and he's just staring at the Kop for about half an hour. So all the signs do kind of point to a Divock Origi exit. Quickly get on to the Championship. So as you know, Emma, Leeds have gone up as champions. West Brom in second place also go up. The ultimate yo-yo club, West Brom, in my opinion. Playoffs between Swansea and Brentford, Fulham and Cardiff. I mean, it could actually be an all Welsh or all West London final, which would make for great viewing. Obviously, Fulham won 2-0 last night, so that's looking unlikely that Cardiff could get back.
That's crazy. I didn't know that Swansea made it into the playoffs. There's one of our players over on loan, Ben Wilmot. It goes up to the Premier League. He's like, yeah, bye.
Oh God, can you imagine? So I mean, are you looking forward listen, Watford are in the Championship next season, but I know you're still going to be watching all the big Premier League games.
Yeah.
I mean, as a neutral, do you see Leeds giving us a bit of entertainment next year?
You know what? I think it is interesting to watch a team that hasn't been up in the Premier League since how many years ago? 16?
2004, yeah.
Yeah, 16 years ago. It'll be interesting. Maybe there'll be like a club like Sheffield United, which came up and all of a sudden Sheffield United were in the Championship last season, and all of a sudden they've come in, smashed people out the way, and they're like at the top half of the table. It'll be really interesting to see that. But then again, it could all go. I was gonna. You can swear. It's all going to go tip up, you know.
Yeah.
Like Norwich, which actually won the championship. And look at them this season.
Awful.
They were not a Premier League club. Were not a Premier League club. It would be interesting. I would like to see it. Yeah, I really would. I tell you what, talking about the championship, there's going to be some really exciting games.
There always is in the championship. There always is.
I know. I'm getting acted. It has Luton. Luton, have they stayed up?
What, Luton?
Because I'm getting acid by Luton fans saying can't wait to play you next year. So I'm like, hang on a minute, I got relegated.
I'm not too sure what happened with Luton in the end this season.
Because I know they were talking.
Yeah, no, I think they started off the season really well. But I thought they were in League One. I'm not too 100% sure on that one, to be honest. But like I was saying, where are they?
Yeah, they came in 19th. Unless they're still this, but they're done, aren't they? Championship.
Yeah. So they're in the championship next season.
Yeah. So the people that got relegated
wow.
is Charlton, Wigan, and Hull, which is crazy because Hull.
Which are three big teams.
Yeah.
Three big teams in the championship.
Next year, it's going to be Watford against Luton. And also, my brother-in-law supports Bristol City.
Right.
So it's and he's like die-hard Bristol City to the point of, you can't talk to him for the rest of the day if Bristol City lose. It's going to be like, oh my god, this is going to be juicy.
Yeah, there's always big games in the championship because, Forest have been in there for a while. Whenever they play Derby, it's a big one. You've got teams like Fulham, Swansea, Cardiff.
I mean, it'd be interesting to see if Fulham go up because Fulham are also more like a bit of a yo-yo. They've been down, they've been up, they've been down, they've been up. As long as we're not going to be any of the teams, which I don't think that we will be, like Sunderland that comes down and then has a diabolical championship, and even Hull, looking at that they've just been relegated to League One. And you're like, well, wait a second, a couple of years ago, they were in the Premier League.
Yeah, they were in the FA Cup maybe 5 years ago, I think Hull were.
Yeah.
FA Cup final against Arsenal. So yeah, a lot can happen when you go down. I think if we look at someone like Portsmouth, who are League One, kind of League Two level now. I mean, like Hull, they were in the FA Cup final. I think they won the FA Cup in 2008. Wigan won the FA Cup in 2013. So it's really a mishmash of where you can go.
Yeah. As long as we don't lose players, I'm hoping that the piece of paper which somebody added me on Twitter of the owners of Watford borrowing against the TV rights, Barclays Bank or something, and people are just like, he's borrowing a load of money so we can buy in a load of players and go straight back up. I'm like, yeah, please say this is the case. It's not the money for you to buy a brand new stadium because I think we've got priorities.
Yeah, there was talks about a new stadium, wasn't there, at Vicarage Road?
It looks sexy.
Where actually is the proposed new ground?
Bushy.
Yeah. Used to play football in Bushy. So to be fair, I think I've always been of the opinion though, Emma, instead of getting a new stadium, just build on the one you've got already, because the atmosphere at Vicarage Road, I don't know. I mean, we can take Spurs, for example, we can take Arsenal, all moved into new stadiums. Has it worked for them? I mean, Liverpool were going to do that, and we just ended up building, 10,000 on top of the capacity that we've already got. I'd always go down that route personally.
Yeah, I don't know if you can actually do that in Vicarage Road, because bear in mind our stadium backs onto the hospital. So if you build it up, you're quite literally looking off the view of everybody that's in hospital. Not like looking at it anyways, but there just quite literally isn't enough space. I think they also need to take it. If you're going to go bigger, it has to go a little bit out of the town centre, because Watford is, even though it's a town, it's still very small. It's not a big place.
It's made up of a lot of roundabouts. From my memory of Watford, especially around the Harlequin, it's just one massive roundabout. It seems like.
Yeah.
Mad place. So we're going to move on to Liverpool then. I think. We haven't had a show since I was up in Liverpool last Wednesday. I was outside the stadium after the Chelsea game. I was kind of involved in not involved in the fireworks, but saw them all go off, and it was incredible. And I think, from an outsider's point of view, Emma, was it everything that it could have been with the conditions that we've obviously been dealt with now? Do you think the trophy lift and the celebrations were as expected?
I think there's a line of what you can do and what you're not allowed to do, and I think we like bang on that line. The fact that there was loads of crowds, there's loads of fireworks, I was like, don't really think that this is acceptable. But then again, I don't think that the police were stopping that. So hey, you know what? It is what it is. You're not going to take it back now. Celebrate how you want to celebrate it, because if we were doing that in Watford with the same situation, we would all be doing this. You know, you can't put a firework in a box and, you know, like exposures. It is, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah. Hey.
Yeah, I mean, what I'd have to say is 99% of the people I saw acted and behaved impeccably. Unfortunately, there was a small minority that got. I think there's a video going around of a fight that happened, and there was a couple of arrests. But, you know, like you, Emma, there, I think the line from here to here, we were pretty much in the middle of it. I think we probably just about got away with it in the end.
Yeah, I think, you know what, you say that there's fights and you say that there's some negativity around it, but at the end of the day, you're never going to have a perfect scenario, a perfect outcome. You're always going to have it, and it's just making sure that it's limited, you know, rather than like a mass brawl. Like people are going to be fighting, but you go out drinking at night time, you're telling me that no one the whole night is going to fight. No, but we can reduce the numbers down, and that's the best that you're going to get.
Yeah, so talking about better things to happen to Liverpool this week, obviously Henderson takes home the Football Writers Player of the Year award. Klopp last night wins the LMA award. I mean, you've interviewed Hendo before. You've been close to the man. I'm very jealous of that, Emma, because I absolutely love that man. I honestly, Emma, I would kiss that man. Jordan Brian Henderson, what a legend.
What's lovely about him is he comes over in this very cool, calm demeanor, and he looks at you and he gives you a smile. And when somebody looks dead straight into you and smiles, and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna interview. And bear in mind, okay, in that picture it makes me look teeny tiny, but he's not like 6'5" or anything like that. I think I found a ditch, to be quite honest. But I'm looking up at him and he's looking down at me, and I'm like, I'm just gonna, you know, just talk about England and stuff. But you can't help but look straight through. And he's got such a lovely like energy about him.
Calm and collected.
Very calm and collective. And you can tell that he is so dedicated in everything that he does. Really, really does.
I mean, there was a lot of uproar about this. What I was actually trying to explain to people is the PFA Players Player of the Year is reserved for the likes of the Suarez's that's won it, the Ronaldos, Salah won it last year, Van Dijk, De Bruyne. I think the Writers Award of the Writers Award is completely different, and I think it's seen from the perspective of the writers that are there every week. They know the stories that happen, you know, in and out the dressing room, on and off the pitch. So I think the story of Hendo, going from, you know, pretty much being outed to Fulham at one point in 2012, to taking over the captaincy from Gerrard and becoming a European. He's actually the only ever English captain to have won the Club World Cup, the Super Cup, the Champions League and the Premier League.
He's done an incredible job.
So you can't really, I mean, I understand people saying, why hasn't De Bruyne or Mane won it? I get it, because those are better footballers than Jordan Henderson. I'll put my hands up and say that. But this one, it's about the story, and the writers have got it spot on, in my opinion.
Yeah, and I think there was definitely a time as well that he was always dedicated, making sure that he would come down, watch the games, even when you might have been playing like your youth team or whatever. He was always there. He always wanted to be involved, you know, and for an outsider's point of view looking in, it always looks like he's just so dedicated and he loves everything that he does about the club. Like, I mean, if you I was gonna say, if you cut it bleeds red, obviously it does, but it bleeds Liverpool, you know. But
absolutely,
yeah, through and through. And I don't know if you saw, well, obviously of course you did, like they've done a mural of him.
Yeah, the Red Men.
And I just think he's so like, oh, I can't believe I've got this. And it's almost like he feels like he doesn't deserve it, but you know.
That's how humble he is, though. I mean, like I said, you've worked with him. I mean, when was that interview, Emma? When did you actually meet Hendo and speak to him?
UEFA Nations League.
Okay, so that would have been in the end of last summer, kind of.
2000. Oh my goodness! It was summer of 2018. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So I mean, he just probably lost the Champions League final, but the humility of that guy. I mean, we mentioned what he done on the pitch in terms of being the colossus that he has now become. But if we talk about what he's done off the pitch as well, Emma, I mean, he's raised a lot of money with the Players Together initiative. He was the guy that set that up, apparently. And he's just the type of person that you just can't be mad at.
Mm.
So I think, big shout out to Jordan Henderson. I love him. I always will do. And I wish I could give him a hug. But unfortunately, he's not next to me right now to give him a hug. But anyway, we're going to move on to Emma's Match Day Mixer. Now, this is the part of the show where we get stuck into the match day experiences that we know and love, but unfortunately we can't do right now because of the situation. So, I mean, when you go to the match, Emma, you've got to have some decent trainers on. You got to be warm. You've also got to be well fed. You've got to listen to some tunes to get you hyped up for the game, and you've got to have a little drink as well. So that's the kind of the things that we go for here on Matchday Mixer. So you've gone for some Air Max. I mean, the producer Stan has actually gone for a bit of an out there pair of Air Maxes.
Yeah, I mean, I would have gone for the all white, but
yeah. I mean, listen, there are other Air Maxes are available, of course. I mean, I personally, if we're talking about Air Max, would always go for the Air Max 1. I think the Air Max 95s and the Air Max 90s are a little bit too loud for me. But I mean, these look comfy. You got to admit, they look comfy.
Yeah, they look comfy. I mean, I'm not too. Definitely. I would have gone for a different pair of Nike Air Max, but we'll go with that. That's fine. We'll
go with those. We've gone for the Puma jacket. I mean,
that's like the worst possible.
I know. Listen, Stan, if you're watching, mate, you won't be. This is actually a pre-rip. I'm going to pick the pictures next time.
You wear something like that.
I'm going to pick. Don't worry, Emma. I apologise. I'm going to pick the pictures next time. But I mean, that's a Puma track jacket. I mean, there are obviously thicker and more warmer Puma jackets on the market.
Like that and a Puma jacket like that. Oh my goodness. Okay, we're destined for
you say that. I mean, you are a girl from the countryside. You had to go with a private style, didn't you?
No, I definitely am a chav.
Yeah, I mean. Yeah, I mean, you got your Air Max, your Puma, you got a bit of Shider. Vicarage Road. And then obviously, now listen, you've got to have something to eat as well. Very important on the day. Chicken pie.
I mean, good pie.
You cannot. Emma, I want to get your thoughts on this though, because pies, you can either go down the pucker pie route, which is obviously very accessible, very easy, or you can go a bit up market and then get a thicker pastry. I mean, what type of pie do you like? Yeah.
The puff pastry. I think it's nice. It's lighter. If I go into the pub, I prefer the ones which are in that ramekin with a nice puff on it. So it's all like the goodness, the meat, and then just the puff pastry on the top. Doesn't need more pastry casing.
Yeah, I feel like that's very gastro pubby.
Yeah, it's a bit more like pasty.
Yeah, a bit more upmarket. Love it. And now, obviously, we all know, if you've seen the show before and if you've seen the Football Lockdown show that Emma was on as well, she's a big fan of her music, DJ as well as a presenter. And you've gone for Camel Fat. Huge fan of Camel Fat.
Yeah.
Trying to be someone. That is my favourite tune right now, by the way.
Yeah, you know what? I like the guys. I speak to guys on occasion sometimes. Because they're Everton fans, they're Scousers.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh.
But their music, I love them. Did you know that they used to be, Camel Fat were originally Ultra Beat, Pretty Green Eyes?
Pretty Green Eyes. Really?
Yeah.
I didn't. Do you know what? That song, Pretty Green Eyes, yeah, because he was a Scouser. It's all making sense now. It's all making sense. Me and my older sister used to absolutely love that song.
absolute tune. I'm gonna
Critical eyes, know you look at the yeah, absolute banger. Really a big fan of Camel Fat. Have you seen them live? I haven't actually seen these guys live yet.
No, but I wish I could. Yeah, no.
Yeah, big fan of Camel Fat. Big fan of the song Cola. I'm a big fan of Be Someone featuring Jake Bugg, and you can check them out on Spotify.
Cola, but it's the worst ever song to DJ into and out of.
Is it really?
It's horrible.
Tell me why.
Okay, so Camel Fat, right, let's talk basics. With a house music, you've got 4 beats, like douche, 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 douche,
Yeah.
right? House music is so easy to go douche, 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 slot them in and hear it good. But with Camel Fat songs, they slow up, they tempo up and down. So they might go 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then it shifts.
Right, I got you.
So actually, it doesn't have the nice like hitting the beats on time because it moves. It's horrible. They are horrible. Like hell. DJ.
I mean, they great tunes, but let's get the beat matching.
Horrible to DJ, yeah.
Yeah, let's get the beat matching on point. The next part of the show that we're a big fan of here on the Kop TV is, of course, the Would You Rather. Now, we had you and another guest on last time, and we had some great Would You Rathers. This time I've gone more Watford-based for you, Emma. So the first one, who did you pick for Player of the Season? Now, the second one's actually a Watford question, but I mean, we've just spoken about Hendo. This is let's say this is for the Players' Player of the Season, which is obviously different to the writers. Who would you go for?
I don't know. I like Marcus Rashford, and like, right, Kevin De Bruyne is probably one of the best players ever. Like, he got the Playmaker award, right, by making the most amount of. I think Hendo is great in every aspect that he does. He's great captain. He also is the great midfielder, which is box to box, creating all of those like passes, touching up and connecting everybody all together. But Marcus Rashford, okay, he's been out for a load of the season because he fractured his spine.
Was it back? Yeah,
which is mind blowing. But I think, for the time that he had off of the coronavirus, what he did as well, outside of things, getting food tickets for the underprivileged children, I think he's got something in the making. I think he's got such star quality. I can't wait to see him in Euro 2021. I just think I'm just being biased. I just really like him. I think he's great.
Yeah, big fan of Rashford, to be honest. I think, listen, we've all seen the video as well last night from Sir Alex Ferguson, who's come out and actually admitted that Jurgen Klopp called him at 3:30 in the morning the other night when Liverpool won the league. So even though there is that big rivalry with United, I think with Rashford, what he's done, especially off the pitch this season, is simply incredible, and big up to Marcus Rashford. And it wouldn't surprise me if he gets some kind of OBE along the way too.
And I can't wait to see what his future is, because how old is he? 21, 22?
I think he's 23.
Oh, okay, fine. He's still young, and I just feel like what he's accomplished so far, as long as his skills go from strength to strength. But you never know. Is he going to be the sort of player that stays with Manchester United for his whole life, or is he going to go to the big dogs overseas?
Who knows? Would like to have him at Liverpool one day if he fancies that. Who would you rather stay at Watford? These are big shouts, Emma. You got Deeney, Foster, Sarr, and is that Mariappa?
No, that's Etienne Capoue.
That's Capoue, of course.
Yeah.
Tell me who you'd rather stay. You have to. You know what, Emma? I'm going to give you 2. You can choose 2.
Okay, so I feel as though that Deeney is like Mr. Watford through and through. For us to see him leave, I'd be really heartbroken. Ben Foster is probably the only goalkeeper that we have, which is incredible. I think he's an all-round nice guy. I think, yeah, definitely. Ismaila Sarr, my God, that boy. I don't want him to go. No way. I will cry if he goes.
So he's one.
He's so electric. Have you seen how fast he is? I
Yeah,
love
I mean,
it.
he scored 2 against us, so don't rub it in, Emma. Okay.
Yeah, fine. It's about the scoring, but it's also the fact that how fast he runs. You can just, in the last game against Arsenal, I don't know who, maybe it was someone in the midfield will kick the ball over to Saab, but they're kicking further than Saab because they know that he will sprint. He's just such a beautiful thing to watch. Etienne Capoue, I like watching him just because he's a bad boy and he does things on purpose. So for the entertainment thing. So Ismail Yassar, we need him. I don't ever want to see him leave just yet. No way. Get us up to the Premier League and maybe stay with us another year in the Premier League. And then, Troy Deeney. I can't.
Oh, wow.
No.
So you'd be happy. So this will be the headline of this video. Emma wants Foster and Capoue out of her club.
You can't. That's so hard.
Tough question, but that's why we make these questions. So they're hard.
Impossible. Yeah,
they're hard. Moving on to the top of the KOPS moments of the week, just before we finish. I mean, there's a lot of videos that have gone round, but this one for me, I'll never ever get bored of watching it. Let's have a look. Hendo putting the medal on, I mean, he's probably already had a hug with Kenny at this point. We all know the famous Hendo shuffle by now, Emma, and he walks over, big smile on his face. He's been waiting for this moment for his whole Liverpool career, kisses the trophy again. Everyone's gassing him up, does the lift, even though he's injured, and lifts it up.
Oh.
I will never, ever get bored of watching that.
Oh, that is so lovely.
Legend.
Yeah, it just makes me smile. Well,
yeah.
To be quite honest, I've always had a little bit of a soft spot for Liverpool. Maybe not so much this year because last year it wasn't anything to do with that. It's just I like somebody that fights. And then when you started seeing that Liverpool was like quite clearly going to win, I'm like, oh, well, that's gonna be boring. Okay, fine. We know they've won by Christmas time. You know.
Yeah.
I
mean,
who's it gonna be?
Yeah.
You know, last year there was a tight competition between them and Man City, but as opposed with Liverpool, I've always because they've got such a great they've got a good influx of English players as well. You know, so when you had the World Cup, there was loads of English Liverpool. And also, like, I suppose it goes back to like John Barnes going over to Liverpool, you know, from Watford. So there's that sort of association. But
yeah, true. It goes way back. We mentioned this one earlier. Divock Origi leaving the pitch at Anfield. Let's have. So the actual picture before that was him just kind of slumped in the centre circle, watching the players kind of leave the pitch. Another big moment this week. Yeah, Lallana, very teary. Adam Lallana.
Brighton now, God, they
at Brighton.
Yeah. Lucky.
What do you think of that transfer? That's a big one for them.
That's a big one. But then again, I think, you know, he's got a 3-year contract with Brighton. And he's 32 now. For any player to be playing in the top level in the Premier League into your middle 30s is an incredible accomplishment, you know. Despite goalkeepers, obviously. I mean, we got Ben Foster at 37. He's going to be playing until he's 40.
37, wow. He's been around for a while, Ben.
I know. But goalkeepers are a little bit different, I suppose. There's more damage on your body when you're not a goalkeeper. But,
true. Yeah. And the final moment this week is this. Jordan Henderson lifting the Writers Player of the Year award. And do you know what the beautiful thing, Emma, and I think you'll agree, is if you look at the background here, you've got the players, the first team players, mixing with the coaching staff in such a nice way. I mean, everything about us at the minute, I just love.
going back to that picture, James Milner, I mean, he's got that pose bang on. Look at that leg out there.
Oh shit, he's got it on smash.
I know how to make my legs like elongated. Yeah, so
Yeah.
he's got that down to a T.
Yeah, Jimmy Milner getting down with the kids. But listen, Emma, it's been an absolute pleasure to have you on today. Listen, we're all hoping that Watford can get back up into the Premier League at the nearest opportunity.
Yeah, I know. It's horrible to think like, oh, in a year's time, like, oh, do we have to wait that long? Can we not just do like half a season and be like, yeah, you're good enough, let's go back up?
You just got to romp it halfway through and then cruise the other half. That's what my advice would be.
I agree.
But Emma, we can all find you on Emma CB on Instagram, Emma Coney Bear.
Emma Coney Bear on Instagram, and on my Twitters, Emma CB_. So, yeah.
Love it. Listen, again, thank you so much for coming on, Emma. Always a pleasure to see you. I'm going to see you very soon, but I'll let you get off because I know you've got a busy day ahead of you. But thanks so much again. And don't forget this, Emma, you'll never walk alone.
Oh, thank you very much. Cheers. All right,
Take care.
Bye.
All the best.